Welcome to Michigan Reimagined, a Spotlight podcast. And here's your host, Chris Buck.
Okay, so the famous Mr. Rogers stated, "Look for the helpers. You will always find people trying to help." And our next guests are clearly helpers. Here to share the story of the Davies Project is the Executive Director, Pam Miklavcic, and the VP of Fund Development, Mr. Rich Howard, and Davies Project Board Member, Mike Murshak. Welcome to the three of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Really happy to have you here today. So who wants to kick us off and tell us what services does the Davies Project perform for our community?
Yes, I'll take that question. The Davies Project provides support to local families with seriously ill children. That's our primary population that we serve. We use volunteer drivers to make sure that those children can attend every single medical appointment that they need to attend. We also drive expecting women to prenatal care. And the third population we serve is parents of NICU infants, infants in the neonatal intensive care unit. We want to make sure the parents can get back and forth to spend bonding time with their infants.
Got it. And so is the Davies Project unique to Michigan or mid-Michigan, or is it part of some larger organization?
No, this is unique to the Lansing area. I started this about 8 years ago, and it's a model that works beautifully, that we are finding it brings the community together because we are introducing people to one another who never would have had a chance to meet otherwise.
Right. So what's the backstory? Who are the Davies, or what is what are the roots of the name?
Dr. Davies, Dr. Deli Davies, was chair of pediatrics and human development in the College of Human Medicine at Michigan State.
Okay.
I worked for him for a few years, and I just wanted to give this agency a unique name. And he was somebody who was very committed to the children of our community with just really wonderful ideas on how we could improve pediatric care. He's now at the University of Nebraska Medical Center, but I just wanted to name this in recognition of him. But the origin is my oldest son had cancer when he was 3 years old.
Okay.
And we had a long, hard fight with him. He's 25 now, working on his PhD in mechanical engineering. He's doing well, but what we want is a lot more
success
families
stories
with success stories, yes.
Well,
But
congratulations.
She didn't tell you about the part where she'd be sitting at these scary, anxiety-driving appointments, waiting in the lobby for her son to get seen to find out what the next step is. And then she'd notice that people were missing their appointments and maybe didn't have the same level of resources or access, like having two vehicles in the house the way Pam did, where she could devote her life to caring for her kid while her husband still worked, and realize that there's a need out there, on both ends. There's kids that need to get to their appointments. There's doctors' offices and medical facilities that are wondering why no one's showing up.
Right.
And she's been able to bridge that gap. And I think that's why it's so special of an organization, that it really connects people on both ends that want this.
I was going to ask about that. So, I mean, as a layperson who, knock on wood, has not had to deal with something as tragic or catastrophic as this, you wouldn't know that there was even a need. So, like, can you share any kind of statistic or backstory as to why this is such a pent-up thing that maybe people don't even know is needed?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually provide, depending on the year, between about 1,500 and 1,600 rides a year.
Wow.
And our research indicates that that's only serving about 10% of the need. Most of our families, if not all, are low income and on Medicaid, and they simply have transportation issues along with a lot of other types of things. And so, the need is tremendous. There is enormous room for growth. We have experienced, thanks to Pam's leadership, incredible support from the community. We are a nonprofit. We're a 501c3, of course, and we receive all of our support from individual donations, corporate sponsorship, and grants. We're not funded. We don't receive any state money or any of the
insurance money. Or
no.
Really?
No, we don't. We're working on that, but right now the community has supported Pam and her vision just incredible. It's just been an incredible.
So 1,500 to 1,600 rides a year.
But if you want to look at it a little bit differently too, think of it this way: 70% of the children in the Lansing area are on Medicaid. 70% of the children who rely on the specialty clinics are on Medicaid, and they are missing 60% of their outpatient appointments.
Really?
So that's a need we are addressing. If we can get those kids to those appointments, imagine the change in their lives, in their health, in their productivity later as adults, in their education.
Yeah, think about the missed work on behalf of the parents. Think about the missed school, the financial impact.
Right.
I think 2019 there was a study, and the average out of pocket cost for a family that had a child with cancer was about $55,000 out of pocket, and we're talking about families that don't have a lot of resources.
Right.
Again, like transportation, which is one of the areas that is a huge need. In our tagline, I love our tagline. It's the Davies Project, more than just a ride, because we're not Uber. We provide resources to the families. We have volunteer drivers.
Yep.
About 75 volunteer drivers, and they assist the families and help them maneuver the healthcare system. And there's great mistrust in the healthcare system by families, and we have been able to show that our impact is that trust is increased by families that use the Davies Project.
Right on. So as a nonprofit, you mentioned kind of funding, right? Mm-hmm. And so you said corporate sponsorships, private donations, fundraisers.
Correct.
And how are you governed? Obviously, there must be a board of directors. I know Mike is here representing the board of directors, but who makes up your board? How big is your board? How do you pick your members?
We have, on average, between 13 and 14 board members at any one time. Some circle off, some come on.
Yep.
It's a really diverse board. I'm very, very proud of that, because what we want is a lot of voices from around the community helping guide the direction of the agency. So, for example, we have one mom who was one of the first moms we served with her child a long time ago, who is part of the board and who really isn't afraid to speak up and tell us, okay, nope, you're getting off track here. And it's the board has become a little bit younger over time. They're all very committed, and they all put in a lot of time to move this agency forward.
That's great. And you talk about fundraisers, and I understand you've got a fundraiser coming up called Max's Race. Can you share a little bit about what that is? Who's Max? How do people get involved?
Yes. Max's Race was begun about 17 years ago. There was a little boy named Max Matthews who he ended up dying at the age of 6 from meningitis. And his parents, to honor him after his passing, began this race. It has been run on the MSU campus for years. About 7 or 8 years ago, they reached out to us saying they wanted to partner with us. We had just begun as an agency. They knew what we were trying to accomplish, and they were very interested in our mission. So about 3 years ago, they decided that they were done putting on the race themselves, and they handed it over to us. So now Max's Race, it will always be focused on Max and his family. We love to have them there every year as our guests of honor, but that has been turned over to us and is now called Max's Race for the Davies Project.
And the proceeds obviously go to your mission.
Everything comes to our mission to make sure as many children as need rides to medical care have access to them. Yes. And
I have to ask Mike, how long is this race? I know you're a runner.
Well, it depends on if you're doing the kids race.
Right.
So I think we got Rich signed up for the kids race, and I think that's a 100-yard sprint.
I usually only run to the refrigerator. Right. So.
I only run when people are chasing me.
When I first got involved in running 5Ks, it was probably one of the largest 5Ks in the greater Lansing area, which has an outstanding running community, especially with playmakers, which is, Playmakers is a treasure for the whole country. It's one of the best running stores in America. I have friends that visit from LA to see their families, and they always have to make a pit stop at Playmakers because it's the best. And so when I first started running, Max's Race was one of the biggest, most fun 5Ks. It's in June, so it's a little bit warmer, but maybe hopefully not too hot like it could be in July and August.
Right.
And it's on campus, which is always great. It's on the river trail, and it's really fun. And because of the connection to Max, I think it feels a little bit more youthful. There's a lot of kid-friendly activities and so on. Obviously, with COVID and the pandemic, things have slowed down and pulled back, and obviously everyone wasn't sure that first year. So everything's trying to ramp up again now that, to some extent, it feels like we're on the other side of that, and people feel more comfortable getting together.
So did you take 2 years off like a lot of organizations, or were you able to do a run?
Technically, we took 1 year off and went virtual, I believe.
Actually, it was 2 years virtual.
But then the second year, it was rained out.
Right, that's true. Yes.
So it was supposed to be live,
right.
But the storm was so bad that it was the first time I think ever I can remember that a 5K was actually canceled in June. So that was last year. So
it was the day the tornadoes rolled through last year.
Right.
So
End of
it was
June.
good we didn't have the runners out there.
But we still had great support from our sponsors. Nobody requested their money back, and this year we've been able to double our sponsorship in terms of numbers.
Fantastic.
And I just want to run through a few of them because we don't have time for all of them.
Yeah.
But IBEW is along with Ben Rathman from the Rathman Agency, our title sponsors. We have MSU FCU, who
of course,
they're
omnipresent.
fabulous.
Yes.
Yeah,
And they have
absolutely.
a board member who's on our executive committee too.
Yeah. And Dart Bank, Loomis Law. Wonder how that happened. Maxi Maids, Home Seekers, Friedland Industries, of course.
Yep.
And Merit Labs, LA. LAFQ. Sorry, I
LAFCU.
Yep.
Sorry, Kelly. And Independent Bank as well. I mean, and the list goes on in terms of sponsorship. So great support in the community. We're just really excited about June 25th at
June
the MSU,
25. Okay.
at the MSU auditorium.
We really welcome everybody to come out. We want runners. We want walkers. Bring your strollers. Bring your pets. Whatever. We want to really up the numbers that take advantage of this very beautiful course and in support of the kids we're serving.
Got it. And June 28th?
25th. Saturday.
June 25th. It's a Saturday.
It is.
And where do people go to sign up for that?
They can go to our website, which is very, very complex, thedaviesproject.org.
Okay, got it.
Or Run Sign Up, which is a running platform, and they can sign up through that as well. But we do have a special announcement this morning for your listeners.
Great.
And that is that we are offering a $5 discount. Right now, it's a $34 registration fee.
Got it.
For participants. So not just runners, but participants.
Yep.
And we're offering that. All they have to do is when they sign up on Run Sign Up is put in a special code.
What would that code be, Rich?
That code was a brainchild of mine, and that's C-Bucks, as in, see what I did there? Chris Buck, but C-Bucks. It is not case sensitive.
Got it.
And that will automatically drop the price down to under $30.
Fantastic. C-Bucks, Bucks.
I hope so.
Yep. Yeah, bucks. That's fantastic. So June 25th, the daviesproject.org or the Run Sign Up.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Mm-hmm. So you can go to
and
the
runners
websites.
are very familiar with that platform as well. But in terms of
Any
the weather,
website search for Max's Race Lansing will bring it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Or Davies Project, Max's Race.
And you
any
can
of that
find it
stuff.
on Playmaker's website too. I think they calendar all the Greater Lansing race events for June, so you can find it in that list too.
And we have great T-shirts and medals.
There you
All
go.
participants get T-shirts and medals, and they're very special, actually.
And Mike is being a little shy, but he actually is in charge of the weather that day as well.
He also needs to win that.
Yes.
Right? He's in training. All right. Well, that sounds like a great cause. It's a race that's coming up. I mean, we got plenty of time for the show to drop and have people hear about that. You mentioned Friedland Industries. For those chronic listeners of Michigan Reimagined, you will find another episode about Friedland Industries and Scrap Fest. And I understand you're this year's benefactor from the proceeds of Scrap Fest.
We are, as well as a great scrap run on July 9th, and we are co-marketing that with Joel Kahn and Friedland Industries. Joel is a wonderful supporter and friend of the Davies Project, and we're very grateful for Friedland Industries' support of us and our mission.
Got it. So the Davies Project, back to really the core mission. So what's your biggest need right now? What can listeners who are touched by this story do? I mean, certainly everyone wants people to write checks, but kind of compel us to, what will you use that money for? What's the biggest need that you have?
Well, it takes a lot of organization to schedule these rides and to make sure our families are getting the services that they need. So it takes a community to make that happen. Most of our employees are half-time. Mm-hmm. Over time, we need to bump them up to being full-time so that we can serve a lot more families.
Okay.
But we also always need more volunteer drivers. The way we do this is drivers can drive as many or as few times in the course of a week or a month as they might like. So we try to keep that very flexible. But what that means is you need a lot of drivers to balance it out. So if one driver goes south for a couple of months in the winter, there's somebody else to pick up the slack,
right,
and that sort of thing. So we're always in need of volunteers. We are always collecting things like gently used books that with every ride, the drivers take a couple of books for a child to keep. So we're helping families build their libraries. We have garden volunteers who come work on this beautiful yard that we're creating around this old firehouse, which is our headquarters now, right near Sparrow Hospital. There are lots of different ways to participate.
And even the brick and mortar of the firehouse, which is really cool if anyone ever has a chance to go visit. But that was somehow connected to the community, that they came out and somehow gave us this amazing deal to set us up with an actual physical space.
Yes, this was a donor. Yes.
Wow. Kitchen.
Yes.
But what I found fascinating about this organization when I got involved was the impact it has on the volunteer drivers too. So if you go to one of the, we have a big fundraising event, breakfast, and there you have testimonials from not only the families that use the services, but also the volunteer drivers. And it has as much of an impact, if not more, on those that volunteer. I mean, we had one guy who had me, just sobbing in tears because he had lost his wife recently. So he's a recent widower. He's retired, didn't know what else to do, and felt like the Davies Project saved his life because now he had meaning again. And so it's not just that we organized and scheduled the rides. We also provide training for the drivers. We have to organize car seats, and we have to train the drivers to understand how to use and access those car seats, keep your car clean, follow all traffic rules,
yep,
and bring on volunteers in a special way because we're actually putting people's lives in their hands as drivers, and the impact it has from top to bottom. So the doctors are on board, and Sparrow says, oh my gosh, we need this so much, so many appointments are missed. The families need help, right? They only have one car or no cars, and you have mothers that are chasing down buses in the cold with dragging a baby and their kid trying to catch appointments, and they can't make it. And then you have these volunteer drivers that found a new lease on life because it's been such an impact that they've developed relationships with these families and the kids, and so it's changing everybody. It's really special.
In addition to improving the health of the children and the expecting moms that we serve, I think one of the biggest impact we're having is breaking through the isolation that the families experience when they're caring for a sick child. And I know that
they're
feeling.
Alone.
Right. I know that feeling myself. My son was on chemotherapy for more than 3 years. It was a very long, hard fight. And people come in and help a lot at the beginning, but then their lives get back on track and you're still in this very scary bubble. And our drivers break through that isolation and make the families not feel so alone, make them feel part of the community. And it's that's the pure magic of what we do.
Well, it's been a fascinating story to hear. We are unfortunately up against the clock, but the daviesproject.org. We got Max's race coming up on June 25th. C-Bucks. is the promo code that'll get you $5 off your entry fee. And it's just a fascinating story. I would say tell a friend, keep your eyes out for your neighbors. There might be people suffering with this kind of need that, they don't know that there's this kind of resource out there. You guys are really doing great work, and thank you for joining me here today. From the Davies Project, we've had Pam, Rich, and Mike.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much, Chris.
All the best to you.